Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Havoc Hour. As always, I'm your host, Reek Havoc, also known on the Young Kings Wrestling Podcast as the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Got a real special episode today. We're gonna go around the association and the NFL a little bit. I brought my my regular guests, my guest hosts, my guy over from the Young Kings Wrestling Podcast, the thespian TC Fontaine, my main man from the Smacking and Raw podcast, formerly known as SES Vince, now known as Daddy Delgado. My guy Vince. What's good, y'all?
Glad to be back. Glad to be back, man. I love talking hoops. I know we're going to talk some NFL stuff. I'm just going to keep it pretty quiet. I don't got much to add there. I'm going to let y'all run that lane. But when we're talking hoops, y'all, I can't wait. I'm ready for it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to get this out the way real quick because, we have a Patriots fan here, and I'm not very partial to the Patriots, but I'm unbiased on this podcast. So I'm gonna let him have his little moment. My man Cam re-signed with the Patriots for a year, and on the flip side of that, since he's the GOAT, he's a legend in New England. Tom Brady signed a 4-year deal that got voided basically to a 1-year extension up to 2022 with the Bucks. Obviously, we didn't really talk about it on the show, but obviously the Bucks won the Super Bowl. Brady won his 7th ring. How you feeling right now about your squad right now? How you feeling about the GOAT?
Tom Brady don't got nothing to do with my squad. I'm a Patriots fan. Like he don't play for us no more. I mean, congrats to him. That's dope. I heard that he's the first Buccaneers quarterback ever. Where the hell Vince go? Oh, there you go.
I'm sorry. This might be a recurring thing. I don't know. I don't know. I've been having some technical issues with my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's cool. You good?
It's all good. Where was I? I literally lost my train of thought.
You're shunning Brady right now. That's what it sounds like.
I'm not shunning Brady. Yeah. I heard he was the first Buccaneers quarterback ever to sign a second contract with the team. So the Buccaneers have been around since the 70s. So do with that information what you will. Very, very poverty franchise-esque, situation here. But that's dope. I mess with it. I ain't gonna say I don't rock with them. I kind of do because they got Brady, they got Gronk, so got that Patriots connection. They also got 3 Huskers on the squad, including who I'll say the best Nebraska player of all time. That's just my opinion, Ndamukong Suh. So it's arguable, and but he the greatest of all time in my opinion. But yeah, so big shout out to him. Cam on the other end, I really didn't think he was healthy all last season. So if we're gonna do what we got to do, he's good insurance, depending on what they do during the draft. And then if, we happen to get, I like Mac, what I'm talking about, from Alabama. So they want to get him. That's my choice at quarterback. If that's where they're gonna go, I wouldn't be mad at that. Get somebody from that Nick Saban tree. Him and Cam having a competition, I would like to see it. So I think a healthy Cam Newton will add something, and I don't think we had a healthy Cam Newton at any point last season, because you just can't tell me he all of a sudden lost his skill.
No.
There's no way.
There was a lot going on in New England. You had the defensive guys, the starters, opting out for the year because of COVID. Cam didn't get a full training camp with his guys. Facilities shut down a lot, and then he got COVID himself. So I think a lot of the criticism wasn't really warranted. It wasn't really fair.
And I don't know if y'all paid attention to the news today, but the Patriots traded Marcus Cannon, our starting tackle,
to
Houston, and we move up in the draft for like 3 rounds off of that, and we got that brings our total to about $60 million in cap space. So I'm a little excited because I want to see, like, does Bill Belichick, does he have that chip on his shoulder to do something with everybody in the media doubting him and people just doubting him? You got all these players, J.J. Watt not coming there to New England, even though he didn't need him. But a lot of guys used to have New England on their radar as the team to go to, and we not that team, haven't been that team in maybe about 3-4 years. People was going to Kansas City. Kansas City was loading up on guys, and guys were going to Tampa last year. New England used to be that team where dudes would want to go to ride the wave to easy ring, maybe get some playing time, maybe showcase and show out for a new contract. So I think Bill Belichick wants to show that he still has that. So I'm hoping he does. He doesn't do any bullshit.
I feel like
he let somebody else draft a receiver.
Definitely. I feel like this is the year that Bill's kind of gonna, get in his bag a little bit because Bill doesn't spend money on talent. Like his thing is he gets his talent for the low. So to see him spend $14 million on Cam, I'm like, okay, he really feel like he got something here with him. So
and the fact that Gilmore is still on the roster.
Yeah, I felt like, free agency starts tomorrow, so we'll see where it goes. But I really figured
might bite me an ass. He's gonna go somewhere else first thing tomorrow.
Maybe. I would have thought they would have got a deal for him by now, but
same.
I don't know.
Hey, you think Cam gonna find that kid that was at his camp talking shit?
Nah. Like, it was one of them kids that just he was feeling himself and all this other stuff. He saw cameras, so he wanted to have himself a moment and everything like that. I don't think that's going to go nowhere. Like that it was just one of those the moments, young stud, kind of getting into his feeling a little bit, trying to get some clout for the moment. That's really what that was about. I don't think it's going to really go past that.
If I was Cam, I'll pop up at his crib. Like, I ain't a free agent no more, bro.
Oh man, yeah, that was funny stuff. That was funny stuff. I mean, kids out these days are very disrespectful.
Very.
Say that again.
Brady said he's in pursuit of 8. You think he wants another chip?
I mean,
they got the whole squad together. They didn't lose nobody.
Do I think he's gonna get 8? I don't want to say no, because there was a time where I really thought he would never get number 4. He went 10 years in between rings, so like I really thought he was never. I was like, damn, this dude is never winning another championship, and then he ended up winning 4 more. So never say never with Tom Brady. Like I was lucky enough to be a benefactor of Tom Brady, and not be on the other end and be salty like everybody else after he come back and win. Like I was able to benefit from him winning, and I was able to root for the team that he was playing for, fortunately. And I was able to root for him last year too. So I will always root for Tom Brady unless he's playing against my team. But I don't know what that feels like. So
yeah. So for everyone listening, free agency starts tomorrow, I believe at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Any and all deals become official. I feel like we're gonna see some wild stuff happening tomorrow. So definitely gonna keep you posted on the page about that. Now we're gonna open this up, go around the association, and I'm gonna start this off real quick. I feel like I need to be counted amongst those people that needs to sincerely apologize to Mr. Kyrie Irving, because I was one of those people, and there were many. I wasn't just the only one that was questioning his commitment to the game of basketball, with all his, off the court stuff going on, getting seen in parties, stuff like that. We got on here, started saying, well, if he don't want to play basketball, he need to just, step away, take some time off, or hang it up. This man just went off the other night against Boston. He dropped about 40. They won the game. I think it was 121-109. Boston looks like they're coming out of the East right now. Like I don't I don't think there's any
Brooklyn.
question.
You mean Brooklyn?
Not Boston. Boston ain't doing shit.
Oh yeah, no. It's not happening. It's sad too because Boston really kind of fell off from where they were just a year or two ago. Like that's really a problem.
That's kind of what happens when you lose talent left and right year after year and don't replace it with adequate like talent. Like you lose Kyrie, you lose Gordon Hayward, you lose Al Horford, you lose Terry Rozier, all great guys. Like 3 of the 4 former All-Stars, and you're losing that. You're not gonna get that back. You replace that with what? Like Tristan Thompson? Like who else they got for that? Nothing. It's literally like Kemba was
Playing a song on my tiny violin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but it's like Kemba's nice, but it's like he's no Kyrie, and he was struggling up until like recently. He's been struggling, so it's for good reason. The Celtics are struggling. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can only do so much. They need help.
That's what they get for how they treated my boy IT.
But that's just.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm still big mad about that. You know, they did IT dirty, man. He was one of my favorite players, and he out here like literally like pushed through his passing.
Played on the day his sister died in a playoff game. He still came to work.
Mm-hmm.
And
and I think he did it against my Chicago Bulls too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
He put in work against our Bulls. You know, like respect to that man. Respect to that man. They did him bogus.
Do you think this is more on management or is this on Brad Stevens? Because I like Brad Stevens as a coach.
Both.
I mean, when you have 2 guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, you should not be losing games.
And it's a lot of Celtics fans I know that want him out of there too.
So I will say I'll agree with TC. I think it's a little bit of both. It's more so on the management side than it is with with the coaching side and Brad.
Danny Ainge hoards a bunch of draft picks and then just doesn't do shit with them when it comes time to actually act on them. He likes to hoard the draft picks and it's very like fuck them draft picks. Trade them draft picks away. Upgrade your roster. You see what the Lakers did.
Yeah,
won a championship in the first year. They traded draft picks away.
If you compare and contrast the
Raptors
Lakers, you compare and contrast what the Lakers and the Celtics had, because at one point they both had young cores. They slowly built upon. Granted, the Lakers were like blessed with like LeBron James coming over to them, but regardless of the situation, they still had a Jason Tatum, they still had Jaylen Brown, they had a Kyrie Irving, they had all the makings to make a big blockbuster trade for an Anthony Davis. They could have made those kind of moves. Karl Anthony Towns, they could have made some kind of trade. They chose not to. They chose to like play it safe, and now this is what happens. Now, like they're in a situation where they feel like they have to make some sort of a trade in order to make some kind of noise and like light a fire under this team for this season, or else it's just a waste because they do have that exception from the Gordon Hayward trade.
Why haven't y'all traded for Bradley Beal yet?
Honestly, I don't think Washington's trying to trade Bradley Beal. Not
at this point, but
not right now. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they do make a move. I mean, like a Bradley Beal is the guy that can be available. Or Karl Anthony Towns, I think. After this offseason, I think he's up for grabs. I think, like, if I'm the Timberwolves, I start seeing what I can get for the guy and just kind of move on from there. It's like the D'Lo Cat experiment just hasn't worked out. Minnesota's a whole other story, by the way. Like, we talk about, like, management with Boston Celtics. Minnesota, you go from Kevin Garnett to Kevin Love to not.
They need Devin Booker. That's all they need.
No. Devin Booker.
So it'll work when they get Devin Booker.
No, stop it.
He complete the trifecta.
But to go back to your original question, Rick, I do believe that it's more or less Danny Ainge. Yeah, I think he gets credit for doing nothing, for making the big 3 happen.
Mm-hmm. That was in 2007.
Yeah.
So
and he was gifted Kevin Garnett by Kevin
McHale, his former teammate and a big time Boston Celtics guy.
Yeah.
And then also too afterwards, yes, they made the big time trade. Like honestly, I feel like they just got lucky because if Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce stay healthy, Darren Williams stays healthy, that Brooklyn Nets team is solid. and they don't get the high draft picks they get in order to get a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. So there was a little bit of luck within the age. I'm not saying he's a terrible GM, but he's just not as good as people make him out to be. Brad Stevens is a solid coach, but like TC was saying, like you have Jaylen Brown, you have Jason Tatum, you should be winning more games than you are right now. There's no excuse.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like Brad Stevens is a great coach. I don't think you should be losing with the talent that you have. But again, you know, when you have a GM that is a little bit bloated, you know, a lot of decisions are going to be made that aren't going to be best for the team.
Hey, you know what's crazy?
What's up?
The Celtics got to the conference finals like maybe 3 times when the Lakers didn't make the playoffs for about 7 years, and the Lakers still came out of that with more championships than them.
Oh, hey, listen, that's the way it goes now. So I mentioned Brooklyn earlier on. They went ahead a couple months ago, made the big trade for James Harden. He comes in like a house on fire, left from the buffet line in Houston to the layup line in Brooklyn, and killing it right now. Now they just added Blake Griffin. Who's beating Brooklyn?
What for? I don't know. I have no idea what Blake Griffin is going to add to that team.
Well,
I said that too. I did say that too. Like I don't know. He doesn't have to do much. Like, in 2021, you know, adding a Blake Griffin to the squad is not the same appeal as say 10 years ago, but he doesn't have to be that right now. I think that, you know, just keeping him, you know, in rotation can just add that, you know, because they have a great bench, and you know, Kyrie, you see what he's doing alone without KD, because KD is still out with his injury right now, and they're still winning games. So he doesn't have to be what he was in like 2009, 2010. But I even then, I still kind of wonder how much more it's going to add. I think this was just kind of like a little bit of overkill.
Look, he's literally out there to take Jeff Green's minutes. He's out there playing the Jeff Green role. That's basically what he's coming in for. And
how the hell Jeff Green keep getting contracts too?
Fuck if I know. But he got size, I guess. People still think he's a versatile wing or like swing guy. I don't know. But Blake, I think what people tend to forget is your environment matters. Your whole situation matters. You're in Detroit, you know you're not going anywhere, you're not doing anything. He probably doesn't have the motivation to go ahead and just go out and ball out because you know he's not playing for nothing. When he was with the Clippers, people forget that he was still facilitating. He changed his game a little bit, and he was able to play make for others. Look at what Thaddeus Young is doing on the Chicago Bulls. That guy is literally 6'8", maybe 6'7" on a good day. Got some nice muscle on him. He's not the most athletic guy, but he impacts the game in a positive way by getting his teammates involved. If Blake Griffin can come in and literally just be a guy to facilitate the offense, like capitalize on like easy opportunities and grab some boards, he can be nothing but a positive for this team. He's obviously an upgrade over Jeff Green. You never know. Like him being in Brooklyn, him being rejuvenated, him being in a winning situation, he might actually bust out a dunk for the first time in 2 years. We don't know this.
If his knees will allow it.
You know what? As a Derrick Rose fan, I can see that knees can be brought back from the brink and be made to look respectable. So if it happens to D Rose, I have faith in Blake. I like Blake. He was one of my favorite players.
When was the last time D Rose dunked?
Shit, he probably dunked like last week or something, man. He just chooses not to. He can dunk. He can still get up for the get down.
That is a wonderful transition to my next topic, because
you talking about the Knicks
happens to reside with the New York Knickerbockers.
Oh,
and
no.
I have a PSA I need to deliver, because I'm very deeply concerned for the residents of New York City. First of all,
don't let Patrick Ewing into the building, bro?
Yeah. First of all, y'all already going through a lot because y'all are one of the epicenters of the pandemic and everything like that. Y'all really had it bad as it is. So, I mean, y'all kind of needed some refreshing, you know, news and something to lift your spirits. And shockingly enough, the Knicks have been delivering that. They're a game above 500. They're actually top 5 or top 4 in defense right now. Like, they're winning games and they're looking very good with this young team. I was not high on Thibodeau as a coach in terms of the hire for the Knicks. He's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. Like, I wasn't like shitting on him, but I didn't think that he was a great fit for this team. He's really been turned up, and I thought he was going to run out what was left of Derrick Rose's knees. He's still hanging in there. He's still doing good. I mean, I think having him in the locker room too is probably making a great impression too. But I need to say this. I don't ever want to see you Knicks fans out there in the streets high-fiving and throwing parades and stuff like that. Listen.
Overreaching.
At the end of the day, this is still the New York Knicks. This is still a team playing within the East, which is very weak outside of Brooklyn. This is not a team that is known for, managing high expectations. They are very well known for breaking your heart. And we're only just now entering the second half of the season coming off of the All-Star break. Y'all need to stop it. Y'all need to cut it out. It's like bordering on Stockholm Syndrome at this point. What the hell is wrong with y'all? Like, you're celebrating because you're at or just above 500? Like, can we cut it out? Can we get real? I'm sorry.
See, my guy Reek trying to front like he not one of the people he talking to right now.
No. Listen.
It's only been a couple months, so you can't get on the soapbox criticizing Knicks. You was just one of them. It took you until just a couple months ago to stop being a Knicks fan. So you can't bring up Stockholm Syndrome when you was the victim too.
That was different. I was in depression.
As a victim, you need to sympathize with other victims.
I was in depression. I was in depression looking for my way out. That was different. I wasn't sitting up there, cheering and getting high, and in my feelings about one simple win. I was just looking for my simple way. I was that battered victim that couldn't simply, talk my way out of the relationship. That's what I was. These people are sitting out here, hanging on every single win, like, oh my God, we got a chance. Because at one point I think there was number 4. But that's because everybody else was at 500 at that point in time. Now they're at number 7. Like, listen, don't do this to yourself. Don't be those people. Like, come on now. I'm not that naive. That's why I got out when I did. Like, this is not. I'm pleasantly surprised to see what they are doing. Don't get me wrong. This is a young team, and when you see a young team that seems to be turning a corner. At least the perception is that they're turning a corner. It's always a positive, and they majority of their guys are young, so that's good. That is very good. But let's not get carried away here. And at the end of the day, like we mentioned just a second ago, there's still the negative press that comes. Oh, we done lost Vince. There's still the negative press that follows with Madison Square Garden, which was the whole situation with Patrick Ewing, which is egregious on so many levels. I can't even explain to you. That pissed me off on so many levels. And this is why I
Charles Oakley is one thing, but Patrick Ewing though,
like Spike Lee was one of the contributing factors that made me say I need to get away. Like I'm shredding my card after this year because Spike Lee. I mean, I know you consider him, technically speaking, if you're very breaking this down, he is a fan. But he has contributed more in terms of media and PR and promotion to this team than anyone else in America. So he should not have to be dealing with that. But Patrick Ewing is a staple of that team. When were the Knicks relevant before Patrick Ewing came onto the court? Like 70, 73?
1973 is the last time that the Knicks have ever celebrated an actual championship.
No, man, that's not okay. That's not okay.
My mother was 2 years old.
You mean to tell me that there's no one working backstage security that said that grew up in the 90s and say, yo, listen, bro, chill out. That's Patrick Ewing. You need to let him through. Like, there was nobody around that could have helped.
High turnover, man. None of them people nobody at that arena who was, when Patrick Ewing was playing works there anymore. They probably laid everybody off.
It's Patrick Ewing, man. It don't matter what year or how old you are.
They don't know who Patrick Ewing is.
If you work for the Knicks, you a Knicks fan. How you not know who Patrick Ewing is? I was not around.
Who says they Knicks fans? It's probably just a bunch of people that don't watch basketball. They're just getting hired.
Shit, man.
It's their job. They don't give a fuck about no basketball. They just need their bills paid. True. So they're just there, and they got to make sure they keep that job. So they making sure anybody who doesn't have the correct credentials to get past here, not getting past here. It's not on the employees. It's really on management because it's like, how do y'all not?
Nah, man, you work for the Knicks. You gotta know who Patrick Ewing is.
Exactly. Like
the Knicks have not been relevant since Patrick Ewing has been playing.
And for all the more reason for you to know who he is.
They don't know who he is because that was almost 30 years ago. So they don't know.
They need to learn their history.
I'm sorry. If you're going to be in this stadium, the man's jersey is hanging in the rafters. Like, how are you going to be working in this stadium for this organization and not know the people that we celebrate within it? Like, I'm sorry, you can't.
That's on management, man.
That is a fireable offense to me. If that happened on my watch, my dude, whoever's working the gate or security, he got to go. You got to. I'm sorry. I know it's a pandemic and people need their money, but you got to find another job, bro. You can't work for me. If that is a problem in 2021, I'm sorry. It just can't go.
That's honestly on management because I'm gonna be real with you. Like, you know, I work at Thomas and Mack Center, and you know Jerry Tarkanian, he's passed away now, but let's say he was still alive and he came up there, I wouldn't know what the hell Jerry Tarkanian looked like because I never watched UNLV, and UNLV hasn't really been a good basketball team since the early 90s. That's 30 years. So I'm not gonna know who he is, but there's images of Tark all through that building, so you will know who he is because you see it. So
right.
Either the Knicks don't really celebrate their history that often, and they should have some of their greatest players. They should have their photos up all over the arena, so people would know. Be like, "Oh, that's that one guy. He must be important. Can we let him through?" Yeah, that guy's Patrick
They don't
Ewing.
have any pictures.
They probably don't.
Well, I mean, I've been on my soapbox about James Dolan. We know how I feel about that man.
Oh, we already James Dolan. You can get out of here, bro.
Yeah, it's just you talk about owners that do not deserve the position that they have with the franchises. He is at the top, if not 1A, 1B. He is right up there because this is just despicable. I'm sorry. Like, could you imagine if somebody had to stop MJ going into the United Center, or even Derrick Rose for that matter?
Shit, Joakim Noah.
Like
Luol, that's the level of difference. Like, I'm not here to gas up my Bulls, but if Kirk Heinrich walks in through that door, they know who the fuck Kirk Heinrich is, and they respect that man.
That's what I'm saying. Like Scotty, Dennis Rodman, like. If one of them dudes gets stopped at the gate talking about we got to see credentials, like, are you stupid, bro? What are you talking about? Like, that should just be common sense at a certain point. Like that's what it really comes down to. Like, after a while, it just should be common sense. And if that's an issue, like I said, you can't have a job in this arena.
And another reason why this on management is also. My Huskers did that shit with Sue like a few years ago.
Wow.
So, and this is our old AD and all that shit. All them people, they gone now, and they just now trying to repair the relationship with alumni because it was a while there they were getting shunned out.
That's a damn shame.
Those calls are coming from the top.
Damn shame.
All seriousness though, what's the ceiling for the Knicks? They're only what, 2 games out of 4th place right now.
One and done. Shout out to my guy Julius Randle though.
Yeah, yo, Julius Randle's balling, but the question
shout out to Julius Randle, former Laker. Shout out to the Lakers scouting department. Got about 3 All-Stars and a soon to be 6th man of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram over there in New Orleans. So the Josh Hart out here clamping dudes up. Uh,
I was not thinking about Josh Hart at any point.
Hey, you know what? We recently played the Pelicans. He was He almost cost us a game out here just playing the lanes and just being a pest on defense. So
I was so happy when Josh Hart got traded because I could hate him again because I hated Josh Hart in college when he
yeah,
played for Villanova.
yeah.
And he just is like just
Oh,
killing
shit.
Creighton, bro.
Jordan. Wait. Yeah. Wait. Who am I thinking of?
Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan Clarkson. Why the
Yeah.
fuck did I say
Yeah.
Jordan Crawford? Clarkson over there in Utah. Over here,
6 man
balling.
of the year.
Yeah, 6 man a year. Lakers know what they're doing, man. They can draft well.
They can.
In terms of going back to the Knicks, I think the ceiling for them right now is maybe getting one game and then losing in 5, getting like a gentleman sweep. They win like the first like game 3 in New York, and that's about it. Their ceiling is about the same ceiling as my Bulls, like first round exit. That's about it, man. Unfortunately, I will say that they've with Tibbs there, you've kind of established a culture and some consistency, and I feel like that's what they needed. And even though Tibbs isn't the best coach for winning the championship, he's the kind of coach that they needed. He's the kind of coach that the Bulls needed at that point in time to help, establish a presence, a culture. And there, you have a Derrick Rose, you have a Taj Gibson, you have Julius Randle, you have guys that just are gonna listen to this. I would give it like a good 3-4 more years before they tune him out, but for now, they're getting what they need out of him, and who knows, summer 2021, summer 2022, maybe they can go ahead and get a big time free agent, and this time for real. Here's the thing. I will say this. I'm not one to gas up the Knicks because I cannot stand Knicks fans because they overdo it. You give them an inch and they take a mile. That's how it always is. That's how it always been from the jump. But if you have this core team that they have right now, and you put them in the summer of 2019, when KD and Kyrie were supposed to be free agents, now we're having a conversation. Maybe they go to the Knicks instead of Brooklyn.
But see,
They still would have went to Brooklyn.
The Knicks do not acquire key free agents. It's just not what happens. Like they get the leftovers. Like they
acquired Melo. You trying to tell me Melo wasn't going to go there?
That was a trade though. That was a free agent.
No. They were going to sign Melo in the offseason. Melo wanted to get his money, so he kind of forced his way into a trade.
Right.
They gave up a shit ton to get Melo, but they were always going to get Melo, whether it was free agency, like they should have waited, and they would have still had Wilson Chandler, Gallinari, and all them boys. They would have had a decent, nice little roster together. But
I throw out the one anomaly that was 10 years ago. Look at how they were chasing after the key free agency class in 2010. They were trying to get LeBron. They were trying to get D-Wade. They didn't get either of those guys and had to settle for Amari Stoudemire.
Yeah.
So that's a key example of what Rick is saying.
No.
Right.
No. Get your facts right. They signed Amari before any of those guys made a decision. They were trying to get a big time
because they knew none of them were coming.
They wasn't gonna get Bron. Come on, man.
No, they
weren't. They knew none of those guys were coming, so they had to go and just be like,
man, you know what?
This guy was an all-star. He wants to come with us. They're not wasting time.
I don't even want to think about the free agency 2010 because Dwayne Wade's kind of gone out on record saying that, yeah, if they had the money for 3 of us, we would have went to Chicago. But they, young D Rose, you pair him up with like LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, it would have been nasty. But they said it themselves. They only had 2 max spots. If they had 3 max spots, they would have signed with Chicago. Now I'm over here like, why would you do this?
Boozer instead.
You know what? I don't hate Carlos Boozer like most people. I appreciate his game because my style is a back to the basket kind of style. I like to post up. I appreciate the low post game. And in Utah, he was a fucking beast in the post. He didn't bring it over to Chicago as much as I wanted him to, but that's the story for another time. But
he didn't do shit with us.
Yeah, I mean, Y'all
Hey,
ain't
if the
shit.
playoffs started today, the Knicks would be facing the Nets in the first round, so that would be probably a sweep.
Sweep.
Clean sweep.
Clean
No question.
sweep.
No
KD don't
question.
even have to play that series.
So yeah. So you heard it here, Knicks fans. Stop getting your hopes up. Stop reaching. Like
Yep.
you know what your team is at the end of the day. You know what the reality is. So
But the future
let's
looks
calm
bright.
down.
The
It does.
future look.
It does. I will
Future
say
looks.
for the first time in a long time, it absolutely does.
What's their young cat? Emmanuel Quickly or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him, and then they got some pieces there. They got some pieces. Mitchell Robinson, I like Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Definitely a good young guy. So we was talking before we went live on here about the All-Star game and a particular pairing that really caught everybody's attention because, my God, could you imagine seeing the two of them together? Steph Curry and LeBron James. What do we think about that?
Probably the best duo since Shaq and Kobe, if you ever see it. If you ask me, they could be the most dominant duo in NBA history since Shaq and Kobe. They'll be up there with the likes of Shaq and Kobe, a Pippen and Jordan, a Magic and Kareem. They'd be up there. They'd be fucking up there because aside from LeBron, Steph Curry's been the face of the league. Like you can argue that at one point he was the face of the league over LeBron James, and they're both Ohio boys. There's that connection. Their games just perfectly mesh with each other and complement each other to a fucking T. Like, there's no better player. Like, you thought Kyrie and LeBron was nice. Oof. Steph Curry and LeBron James would be God tier. I tweeted that, actually, when I saw the All-Star game. Yeah. Fucking God tier. I don't think we'd ever get to see it, though, because I think RN from the Smack Rock podcast basically kind of pointed this out. The fact, might have been my brother. I don't remember where the fuck I heard this from, but the fact they faced off against each other in 4 consecutive finals kind of like hinders them from ever being teammates because they've been rivals. I think neither men would really want that at this point in their careers.
I don't think they care. Hey, but Steph is a free agent in 2 years, so they ever wanted, to retool. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of start over from scratch. Let some of their guys go and do what they want to do. Steph, if you want to live that life in LA, your wife want to get back into acting. Aisha Curry was on Hannah Montana when she was like 14.
Really?
So she used to act. So she wanted to start acting again. You know what I'm saying? Live that life.
Maybe
we got a spot for him in a couple years.
Maybe it's the NBA 2K My League fantasy booker in me, but I ideally would like, given that they're both Ohio boys, Cavaliers link up between LeBron and Curry would be kind of dope just for the city of Cleveland. They don't get much. They got 1 championship in the last 50 years. Give them something. I think that'd be an ideal situation. I don't think LeBron would ever go to Golden State. I don't think Curry's ever coming to LA. It would have to be a situation where they go to like a New York Knicks and like a neutral team. Like, I'm not trying to say they will go to the Knicks, but I'm just saying it's gonna have to be like a neutral team that neither of them played for.
Oh, speaking of 2K, shout out to my guy King. If you follow him on Twitter, @TopTierClown, got drafted to the 2K League last night to Charlotte.
What's up?
You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. He's fucking 2K king out here. So, that's what he does. That's what he loves to do. So, much love to my bro. Made it to the big time. But yeah, I don't see Golden State ever letting Steph Curry go anywhere. They spent $200 million on this dude, let him get his Under Armour deal. Like, I don't think there's any possible way they let him get out from under that team. Because look at what he's done.
You never know, man.
In the span of the last 6-7 years, you
never know.
Talking about the Golden State Warriors in any type of relevant conversation coming into 2013. And from that time on, all the way on through to the present day, like Steph Curry and the Warriors are a constant conversation. So
I would say you're right, Reek. There is an argument to be made that Curry is a warrior for life. He's a lifer. He strikes me as the Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan mold, where they're just going to stay with one team. However, if you want to make another comparison, I've always thought Dwayne Wade would be a Miami Heat player for life. He joined the Chicago Bulls. Then he went to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's not remember that.
Yeah, but see, Chicago was home for him though. Like that held a special place in his heart. So you had to keep that in mind too.
Yeah. But then he went to Cleveland in a ring chase, and that shit didn't work.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what that was.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't just completely disregard or just throw out the notion that Curry won't ever leave the Warriors. I mean, he could be a Charlotte Hornet. You know, he might go over there and play for the team his daddy played for. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe LeBron goes back to Cleveland.
Melo and Steph would be
my God.
Yeah. They could have had that. Fucking could have had that. They could have had that. Who they draft? James Wiseman? Nothing against James Wiseman. He gonna be nice. But he know Melo. He know LaMelo. LaMelo, Curry. You bring back Clay. Clay can play small forward. Clay can play small forward. You can make that work.
Since we mentioned this, because I brought this up on a previous episode that we were on, that I thought LaMelo may be the rookie of the year. I don't think if it's even a question at this point in time. But I heard this statement earlier in the week, and it really kind of stuck with me. And it's that LaMelo was every bit the player that we were promised Lonzo would be. So I think that right
if LeVar would have put just a little bit of stock on that Triple B of Melo, just to kind of, get the name out there a little bit more, and then just go full-fledged with LaMelo, they would have took off. But the fact that Lonzo was kind of, and still to this day, it's kind of, he don't play for the Lakers. He don't play for the Lakers anymore. I'm going to call it how it is. Lonzo trash. But
you know what? I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
If he wasn't so trash, it would have been solid.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate and be the advocate. I'll be the Paul Heyman to Lonzo Ball. I think he was kind of put in a situation where his father overgassed him up, over delivered him, hyped him up, just like that barbed wire death match that AEW gave us. So I think that's what happened.
That's what I'm saying. He put too much stock on him.
On top of that, Magic Johnson, if you recall, said that when he got drafted, like we want your jersey up there in the rafters.
Yeah,
it's like, how you going to add pressure to this kid? And here's the thing: we knew Lonzo couldn't shoot from the jump. We knew he could play defense. We knew he could rebound. We knew he could facilitate and create for others, and he's shown that he can do that. Obviously, I feel like he just needs to change the scenery. I've actually been an advocate for him being traded to my Chicago Bulls because we need an actual playmaker at point guard. Because I love Kobe White, but he's just a spark plug off the bench. He strikes me as the next Lou Williams. But Lonzo could be a really nice fit for Bulls, or like a good team that doesn't need his scoring punch. You look at a guy like a Ben Simmons, not necessarily a good shooter. Not saying he's a Ben Simmons, but he can be a Ben Simmons-esque type player. I still firmly believe in Lonzo. I think he's still a really good player. And when Lonzo came up, LeVar was saying, you think Lonzo is going to be good? LaMelo is even better than his brother. So we knew from the jump that LaMelo was going to be better than Lonzo. Obviously, it's proven to be. Unfortunately, him being drafted by the Lakers, number 2 overall. Like the year afterwards, LeBron comes into the team, and now you have high expectations. He doesn't really get a chance to develop. Then he gets traded over to the New Orleans Pelicans, where the focal point of the team is Zion Williamson. He's kind of the point forward for that squad. So I don't think he's been in a situation in his NBA career where he's been able to like really flourish and really like capitalize on his skill set. I think him landing on the right team with the right role can really bring out what he can give to you in the team game. I still believe that will he ever be an All-Star? Who knows? Will he be a
Hey,
contributor?
send him down there to play with his baby brother, man.
Yeah.
Nah. But shout out to LaMelo Ball. I think I also want to give a shout out to Tyrese Halliburton from the Sacramento Kings. Sleeper of a fucking pick. And also the Patrick Williams from my Chicago Bulls out here getting Kawhi Leonard comparisons from LeBron James himself. We're looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no. It's LaMelo's award to lose at this point.
Oh man, that's absolutely true. So speaking of those Lakers, we saw them recently on a little bit of a skid. They lost about 4 straight. They're getting back on track right now, but Utah is the runaway team right now, top of the division at 28-10. What's going on with? I know AD is out right now. You know he had the injury problems right now, but. What's going on with the Lakers, TC? What the deal is, man?
Yeah, all right, man. Like that's old news. That was like 3 weeks ago. We passed that. We good. Waiting for AD to come back. We just coasting. As soon as AD come back, we taking off. But he don't need to rush back. Don't rush back from the Achilles. You saw what happened with KD. He came back from the Achilles too soon, ruptured his stuff. You don't want that. We don't need that. You just signed that contract. Fans, we don't want that shit at all. So take your time. Now, if he was on a 1-to-1 deal, that's different. We signed that boy full time. He need to be healthy. So take your time.
You think
we don't win it this year? We got time to win it again. It don't matter.
You think they was kind of exaggerating when they was talking about he needs to start, kind of game managing, cutting his time down a little bit?
Given, I think given in this,
I want to say yes.
Yes, I think this season, yes.
This season, I do agree with that because you look at the Lakers, he's playing at a high level all the way through the playoffs. And it was over in the bubble for from July, August to October. And you only get 2 months off before you got to come back. And in the bubble, they were playing every other day. So, you play every other day for 5 months and then only get 2 months off.
Yeah.
I didn't expect this team, that scare we had. I really called that. I think I might have been a couple weeks late on it. I was like, man, we going to go on, come January, it's going to be looking pretty bad. I'm not going to trip. It was maybe like a couple weeks after that, we was really just down. Just losing. They lost 5 straight.
And that series was real intense too. Like you saw the toll it was taking on Miami and LA. So they really went at it. So you think about the quick turnaround from there.
Even Miami was out of the playoff picture. They were the 10th seed for the longest time there. So it affected both teams negatively because just jumping right back into the season after the finals. I'm not concerned about the Lakers whatsoever though. They have a healthy AD with the team they have. I think this team is actually better than the one they had last year. They're the team to beat in the Western Conference until someone actually beats them. I still think they're the team to beat, regardless of what the Utah Jazz are doing, which are my sleeper team in the West.
You could be like the Utah Jazz, getting put out in the first round last year, getting all this time to rest in the bubble. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're coming out with the first place record. Whereas us, we went all the way to the end. We won it, and we only second place. Come on now. So y'all first.
No, I think you guys
are one and done this year too. You probably third. I think Phoenix might be ahead of us.
Phoenix. Man, shout out to Phoenix Suns, man. Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and them
shout
boys.
out to Chris Paul.
Yo, I said it, man. I said it. If Phoenix just had a veteran presence in that squad. Like last year, they went to the bubble. I think they went 8-0 before they lost any games. They were undefeated.
Yeah.
Like if they had
they didn't lose any games in the bubble.
Right. If they had a veteran presence in there to lead them, they could really turn up. And now they got Chris Paul teamed up with Devin Booker. Let me see this. They're 25-12 right now, just behind the Jazz. Like they are killing right now.
Mad props to my boy Chris Paul. For a long time there, it was a conversation who was the better point guard, him or Darren Williams. We've seen that he's probably one of the greatest point guards of all time. Every single team
He is the greatest.
he's
After
been
Magic.
to, every single team he's been to, he's made better.
OKC.
The New Orleans Hornets weren't shit until he got there.
Yep.
He goes to Houston. He makes them a better team. He goes to the Clippers, makes them relevant for the first time ever.
Yep.
Ever. Then he goes to OKC, a team that they already like just said they're gonna be a lotto team.
Yep.
And they're out here in the playoffs. Now he over here in Phoenix with like this is basically what OKC. This is a redo of OKC plus some better players with a Devin Booker. It just goes to show you that Chris Paul has so much in the tank, and it saddens me to see this man without a ring. I don't want him to ring chase, but come over to LA, baby. Link up with LeBron.
You might as well.
Link up with LeBron one time.
Do what they didn't allow you to do 10 years ago.
Get that ring. You deserve.
There's not a lot of floor generals that are made like Chris Paul, and like you said, when a guy like that can create that much of a spark to get life out of these teams. I mean, look at OKC. OKC is the bottom of the barrel right now. Like they're only above Sacramento, Houston, and Minnesota. Like they completely fell off. Houston is second to last right now. So I mean, these are teams that could not have even thought about getting into the playoff picture without Chris Paul. So yeah, when you think about that, you gotta get this guy something at the end of the day. You don't like the idea of jumping around to, get into a contender and just to get a ring, but guys like that deserve it. Absolutely. He put enough tenure and time in, and what he's done for so many of these young guys in the league today, it's like it is criminal that he doesn't have a ring right now. Him and Melo are the two people that I say, if they leave this game without a ring, it's a crime.
I will say this, Melo, you could have had a real chance to get a ring if you had just came to Chicago instead of chose the money. You're trying to tell me?
No, y'all wouldn't have won shit, man.
Yo, that season, you know what? Hey, you know what? No, that season, you had Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Carmelo Anthony, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah. They're all still good players. They went toe-to-toe with that LeBron James Cavaliers team that didn't have a Kevin Love at that time. Technically, they almost beat them. I'm still salty about David Blatt like calling that timeout when they had no timeouts. That would have been the technical. You would have had 2 free throws and the ball. That would have been game. That would have been fucking game 3-1 on the Cavs on LeBron. We would have won that. No. With Melo, that would have been easy 6-2 series right there. Would have went to the finals, faced off against the Curry Warriors. It would have been like literally Melo and LeBron battling in the East for the next 4 years. He could have had a real chance. But he chose to stay with the Knicks and what they do.
I have to agree with that.
I feel like, sometimes Melo sits back and he thinks about that and he just wipes his tears with $100 bills.
And see, this is why I don't feel bad for the guy for losing that ring. Like whether it was my Chicago Bulls or another team in general, like he should have seen the writing on the wall and jumped ship and actually chased championship and actually went for winning. You saw where his loyalties lie. Like he even said it. I think it was like on First Take with Stephen A. He was saying that, you know what? I chased the money. I grew up with this mentality. You don't leave any penny on the table. And that's
fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
And like I said earlier, like
he's still the first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, he is. But
yeah.
he should have been
championship don't make or break that. So I don't think he loses sleep over it.
He could have had a ring right now.
I don't think he losing sleep over it. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think he at this point in his career, I think he's
He was supposed to be the third guy. It wasn't supposed to be Chris Bosh. It was supposed to be him, LeBron, and Wade. That's what people forget.
That is true.
It's true.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah, Melo's one of those guys that kind of tips the scales for you when it's really kind of even. So, I mean.
Who's to say he's not going to win one either?
I don't know, man. Portland
best player, low key, if you want to be real.
Bruh. Stop.
I'm a Melo stand, so I'm biased. But
I'm gonna need you to stop disrespecting my boy Damian Lillard.
Like,
Dame
I ain't
Dollar,
disrespecting him.
he
Dame
gets
Dollar is a
disrespected
fucking
enough
killer.
as it is. Like,
I said nothing disrespectful about Damian Lillard. I never say anything disrespectful about Damian Lillard.
Portland's best player though. We already know that's not
Melo,
a
Melo one of the
conversation.
GOATs, man.
He is.
He one of the GOATs.
He
One of the
earned that.
best player.
But I mean, is Portland even in the conversations that we have on a regular basis? If not for Damian Lillard, I don't think so. I don't even think it's close.
I mean, they ain't doing what they doing without Melo. So
we should move on.
I don't know. Yeah,
we're gonna stay here for a minute.
We're gonna jump to the next thing. This is a real issue.
And Melo, the greatest college player of all time, too.
Debatable. Highly debatable.
Modern era. Modern era.
Yeah, we gonna save that for another episode because that's a conversation. So this right here is a big issue that I'm seeing a lot. These refs in the NBA, some of these ejections from the likes of we saw earlier tonight. It was Kyle Lowry. Who was it? I think it was Devin Booker that got one a couple games ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, just for some nonsensical shit that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, I'm always of the belief that I think that in the final like 2 minutes and under, I don't think the ref should play any type of role in the game, especially a big game. But right now, it's like they just kind of, I don't know, they're overbearing now. It's like you can't even make a mean face around the refs right now without getting a technical or an ejection. Like, what the hell is going on with these refs today? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I honestly don't have an answer to that.
There's a post game interview with Shaq, maybe like 02, 03, can't really recall. And he goes off about how the refs try to, quote, take over the fucking game when there's a bunch of people who pay a lot of money to see the people play and watch the game, and the refs try to take over the game. That was in like 02, 03. Nothing has changed from now until then. Refs still try to take over the game. And it's actually ruined my enjoyment of it. I enjoy the NBA less than I ever have. Just a lot of different factors. I don't like how easy it is for people to put up stats, and then people act like it's the greatest thing ever when guys put up stats, because dudes aren't really dedicated to playing defense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you have dedicated defensive teams, like I really love watching the Lakers play basketball last year, because not only were they great offensively, defense was the bread and butter for real. And if you actually paid attention to the games, you see how great that defense was. You see those scores and the point margins of a lot of our games we played last year. Defense set the tone for a lot of that. So if a team's playing D, I love it. But if they're not, and you got guys that's putting up stats, and you want me to act like it's the greatest offensive performance I've ever seen, I'm not going to act like that. So you take that and you take the thing with the refs, it kind of ruins the enjoyment of longtime viewers. So I can only imagine what it's doing to somebody who doesn't really have that much of attachment to it.
Yeah. It could really drive away some casual fans for sure.
Yeah, man.
It get boring after a while. Like, okay, it's enough of that. It's not exciting anymore.
Yeah, they shouldn't be playing as much of a factor. Absolutely, especially like you said, when you got
goddamn NBA is a suspect.
Yeah, but it's true, especially when you got guys like like you said, that are top stars in the league that people pay big money to see. Like, you can't have them getting ejected and stuff like that. Like Donovan Mitchell was the big one, because he went off in the press conference afterwards, because it's like that changed the tone. That made all the difference in the world, because that game went down to the wire and they lost that game because one of your stars was gone. It's like that shouldn't be happening when you got people that are spending money in Utah, because it ain't shit to do in Utah at all. So, I mean, when you got people that go in there to really get entertained by seeing one of these stars.
Watch basketball and be racist.
Yeah, it's like when you can't have that happening when you got a guy like that people are coming here to see, and you ruin the outcome of a game just because of something stupid. Like I can't. That's not a good look for anyone in the league right now. Like Adam Silver, you gotta handle that situation right now. Big talk.
Adam Silver sucks.
Facts.
People love Adam Silver because he banned Donald Sterling. And you write Black Lives Matter on the court and you do a bunch of shit that just doesn't matter in the long run for anything. Like Donald Sterling made $2 billion off of selling his team. You think he was supposed to act like that was an example made out of him? He made $2 billion off of that because you banned him forever.
Low key, and one of these days we'll have a conversation about that. Low key, I feel like that was like the highlight of Adam Silver's tenure.
That is the highlight of his tenure. He hasn't done anything since then, and even that was the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Like that was the least thing he could have done. And he did that little bit of thing. There was nothing else that came of that.
Yeah, we kind of laud him a little bit more than we should.
Ever since then, what has he done that was notable? What has really changed? What has been the All-Star game has been watered the hell down. Like All-Star weekend in general has been watered down his entire tenure. Like I think every single year, when we had the worst dunk contest of all time, didn't they do that team shit? You remember they did the team dunks?
That was the worst thing ever.
That was awful.
That was
it's
terrible.
just a bunch of innovative stuff that he tries to do, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, that was trash. I was thankful to see that they got the All-Star game off without a hitch because I got scared because what was it? Ben Simmons and who else was it?
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, they got pulled with those COVID tests and stuff like that. So I got a little scared for a minute, but that did go off.
And they gave Mike Conley a pity All-Star.
Yeah,
just like they gave Nas a pity Grammy earlier today. I'd have thrown a shot at Nas on here.
Well, look, man. I mean, to be fair, wasn't that the big concern?
You do need to do the All-Star game.
Yeah,
give these guys give these guys All-Star, like give them the recognition of being an All-Star. So, whatever contracts, incentives that have to be fulfilled or whatever, you can go and take care of all that. They get the honor of saying have they played an All-Star season. But was the game necessary? It wasn't necessary.
It's a little bit more of a gray area than it is black and white, TC. You're completely right. The game didn't need to be played, but you look at a guys like Julius Randle or a guy like Zach LaVine that have never actually played in the game. We don't know how many times they're actually going to compete in that game.
So what?
It's more to them than it would for like a LeBron James or Chris Paul.
Yeah.
So what? It's a pandemic. So what?
I don't know, man. Look, I think that would
maybe next year they could play the same. They could play as well as they played next year, and they can get back to the All-Star game if there's one next year. But there was no need to have a game this year. They still would have gotten that distinction of being an All-Star. That still would have been there.
Like I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just throwing out the caveat that was like, hey, look, like a guy like Zach LaVine or Julius Randle that never been in an All-Star game, that would be like a Jaylen Brown that have never played in an All-Star game. They
guys are like 25 years old. It'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly. So like a guy like LeBron didn't really want to play in it, but you saw even he kind of enjoyed himself. Like I like especially like if we didn't have the All-Star game, we would have never gotten the pairing of Curry and LeBron James that we just like touted heavily at the start of the podcast. So it, give or take, did it need to happen? No, it definitely did not need to happen. Was it very enjoyable? Hell, the fuck it was. Even though Team LeBron has proven to me to be one of the most like promising player turned into GM guys that there could possibly be. I totally would want him to be an owner of a franchise or run a team. He is not a Michael Jordan. I feel like he would be able to build a contender. That's what
I get LeBron. I'll give LeBron credit for tailing Horton Tucker. That was a good call, LeBron.
That's a good point.
Wait. Before we move on, since we're talking All-Star, what's with the Utah Jazz slander? Why is Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert the last two guys being picked?
I mean,
what's going on there? Especially LeBron saying he needs to get some size.
Well, listen, Rudy Gobert, that's self-explanatory as why he got picked last year. Come on now.
Over Vucevic? Vucevic over Gobert?
That's all I gotta say. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
What really? Huh?
What's the reason for Mitchell? You trying to tell me Mitchell isn't an all-star caliber player, someone you want to play with?
No, I like Spider. He's cool.
Yeah. So why was he the second last guy picked?
I don't know. Take that up with the GM. Take that up with LeBron and KD. I don't know.
If we're talking about selections in general, it was all.
I would have never picked Rudy Gobert to my player pool in the first place. Who voted for Rudy Gobert to be an all-star besides people in Salt Lake City? Who really and people in France? Really, who wants to see Rudy Gobert do anything?
I don't know. I think you're being a little mean.
No, I'm not. Rudy Gobert is the reason why I didn't get to watch basketball for 5 months last year.
Come on, bro. You don't think they would have shut it down regardless? Like that.
I mean, eventually, but he was the reason why it got accelerated so fast. It was his fault. He wanted to cough on microphones and start just rubbing his hands all on his teammates' faces and stuff. Come on now. Are you being childish? You just putting people in danger. You just don't seem like a bright person in general. There's a reason why you were always reminding me of JaVale McGee at some point. I don't know.
I think you're being a little unfair to the homie. I think you.
I'm not.
No, if you
talking like that. And then he didn't get selected as an all-star, and this man cried like he just lost a family member. And all your peers get on social media and laugh at you. So your own peers don't even respect you. I don't know if your own teammates respect you. Because they're saying you're saying your teammates don't like you. It says Spider don't like you. A couple other guys might not like you in that locker room. I don't care your number one seed. We're going to see that you falter. They're going to falter. I don't think they win more than 2 games in the playoffs, to be honest with you. This is an anti-Rudy Gobert account over here. We don't like Rudy Gobert.
I mean,
I seen Rudy Gobert get dunked on by he got blocked by Kenyon Martin's son the other day. You getting blocked by these young boys. You're supposed to be a defensive player of the year. You're supposed to be this all great defensive player, and he's not that. He don't contribute anything on the offensive end. You barely contribute on the end that you get lauded for.
To be fair,
we don't rock a Rudy Gobert over here, fam.
To be fair, even defensive Hall of Fame greats like a Dikembe Mutombo got posterized plenty of times for trying to get to that block.
You know how, and I'm not even being as disrespectful to Rudy Gobert as I could be because I'm pronouncing his name correctly. If I really wanted to be disrespectful, I could go to Shaquille O'Neal level of petty and mispronounce his name. Usually, any other time, I'm calling him Rudy Gogurt. That's what I called him in. So you're lucky. I'm respecting you enough right now to say your name correctly.
You know what? I don't even want to go into Shaq, man, because recently that man's been pissing me off.
Shaq made up for it by coming into our world.
Yeah.
And
no, still haven't.
He made up for it. He made up for it with me.
That
now,
man.
Next time he says something on TV I don't like, he lose all that goodwill. But right now,
give it a week. Give it a fucking week.
Yeah, it's not gonna be that long. I'll acknowledge that right now. But
you see him getting into it with Candace Parker. Candace Parker looking at him like he a dumbass.
Good Lord.
Candace is much smarter than he is.
Shout out to Candace, Chicago Zone, over here playing for the Chicago Sky too. Hopefully she gets a chance.
Man, I wanted her to come to Vegas so bad. But listen, can we talk about that? Like, this is an impromptu conversation. Can we talk about this right quick?
What's up?
How do you let the greatest player in your franchise since Lisa Leslie, how do you run her off for Derek Fisher? They chose Derek Fisher over Candace Parker, bro. What dirt does Derek Fisher have on the Los Angeles Sparks organization? This is why I couldn't be a Sparks fan. This is why I said I'm gonna settle with being a Aces fan. Like,
you can be a Sky fan.
I was here in Vegas. No, I was here in Vegas.
You said no.
I was here in Vegas, and a WNBA team just fell in my lap that I could support, just with true, just being genuine. You know what I mean? So I'm a big Aces fan. I was like, dang, who out here that's a free agent next year? Oh, Candace. Damn, I want Candace Parker on our squad. We didn't get Candace Parker, but Liz Cambage coming back though, so we good.
Do we really want to ask the question about what Derek Fisher might have?
I'd rather not.
I really want to know, like, aside from Derek Fisher being a Laker, what reason did they have to pick Derek Fisher over Candace Parker?
I mean, there's no legitimate reason I can think of, but like I said, do we really want to know what kind of dirt he might have?
Would this be a Tom Brady situation with Candace? Could it be something similar where they're just kind of forced out and she shows out with my Chicago Sky and balls out over there while the LA Sparks don't do shit? You know?
I don't know.
I
need my squad. We gonna win it all this year though.
We'll see.
We got Liz back. You know, we got the MVP. Can't go no wrong with that. We got one of the GOATs coming back, Angel McCoughtry. You know, we got former 6th Woman of the Year coming back, so we good. You know, shout out to Derica. We all right.
Yeah, man.
Plum Dog coming back. We good. Kayla McBride left. I was kind of sad about that. Spent her whole career with the squad. Yeah, we get real deep into WNBA, and I feel like this is a one-sided conversation, so we can move on.
Yeah.
Malik was here. We be going at it.
Right. That's cool. Whenever Malik Lesler decides to show up on this show, we'll make it.
I like that.
Oh yeah. That's about the
WNBA low key becoming more exciting than the NBA to follow. Not necessarily to watch, but to follow for sure.
It just might. You never know that.
Yeah.
Even to watch is still interesting though. Sometimes, you know, you still fall into those tropes where, you know, people find anything to joke on the WNBA for. You know, they might, you know, make a mistake out there on the court, and it's the, you know, the whole world is against them at that point. But it's very good basketball being played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So last thing before we get up out of here, the MVP conversation is getting real interesting right now. I think the favorite that's been talked about up until the last few weeks was Joel Embiid. But then you had
with this injury, he's still my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you gotta look also. You know, James Harden's just
because who else you gonna give it to? Rudy Gobert. He'll get to Rudy Gobert because they're the number 1 team in the league. No,
but here's the conversation.
Don't try to sit here and try to make a case for James Harden, because that is blasphemous. I'm not saying James Harden is not one of the best players in the NBA. He is. But we can't just throw out what he did in Houston. He showed he was a terrible teammate. Yes,
No, not in Houston, in Brooklyn.
It don't matter. How many
they
games
conveniently forgot all about that shit.
No. That matters. That is part of the 2019-2020 season. That counts.
Because I feel like the media is gonna hold that against him for that.
They should. They totally fucking should.
They should, because I don't rock with James Harden. So, like, by all means, go ahead, do what you got to do.
I don't even hate James Harden, but I can't look past at what he did, and yeah, he's balling right now. He's adjusting, beautiful, but I don't think he's an MVP. Not this season, not with this team. I don't think he is.
Well, okay, that's fair enough. Outside of that, Giannis won back-to-back the last 2 seasons.
He ain't getting it.
The big thing I keep hearing about is that
they don't talk about Giannis no more.
Well, of course not. Of course,
they started gassing that boy up to come to a LA or Golden State or any big market, Miami, and he went and signed that long-term contract with Milwaukee. They was like, all right, then we ain't gonna talk about your ass no more, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
but the big talk that now is that like it's been 8 years since LeBron James has won an MVP, and I mean that alone just seems like it's almost criminal because I mean who could argue he's been the best player in the league the last couple seasons?
You don't even want to open up that wormhole, man. You don't want to open up that can of whoop ass right now. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest players of all time, won MVP. Like Michael Jordan, one of the greatest players of all time, should have way more MVPs than he ended up with. Just to give it a Karl Malone for winning season.
So shout out to
Shaq.
I'm all on board.
Dominant centers of all time, and he doesn't have more MVPs than he should. Like the best player of the NBA doesn't always get all the MVPs. They always give it whoever is playing the best that season. Which I'm on board with Rachel Nichols. They should have two awards: the best player in the NBA award and the most valuable player to their team award, type of thing.
No, they need to actually put some effort into selecting these MVPs. Like have some better criteria. Don't make 2 awards. But I think LeBron can make a case for MVP coming back here. Like we won a really live game coming off the break against Indiana the other night. We got Golden State tomorrow, which should be a dub, but you never know. Minnesota also, Charlotte also, Atlanta also. So Lakers got a chance to go on a 5-game win streak before going to Phoenix. That's a win we need to get back.
I can see.
We got New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then Philly. Philly is the big one next Thursday. So should be on the lookout for that one. He really can solidify an MVP case there. So I think the next week and a half, be on the lookout for some Laker games and see how LeBron do.
Just because I don't know,
especially AD is going to be out another 2 weeks too. So
yeah. How long is Joel supposed to be out for?
I did not see that.
That's a good question.
Because I think that's what matters. Because I'm what you see here. I think Joel Embiid is my MVP. He's balling. He is revitalizing that center position. People are actually talking about the center position. Him and Jokic over there in Denver. They're the 2 best centers in the NBA, period. And honestly, what they're doing with that Philadelphia squad over there is fantastic. People had
2 weeks for Embiid.
2 weeks for Embiid. Okay, if he's only missing 2 weeks and he goes back into form, I think Embiid is still my guy. I think they're the number 1 seed in the East. Earlier, you're saying like outside of Brooklyn, it's pretty like the depth is pretty low over there in the Eastern Conference. You completely brushed over the Philadelphia 76ers. Ben Simmons is balling. Joel Embiid is balling. The team fits a little bit better. Don't forget about Tobias Harris. That man can go. I'm not saying they'll win a championship. They'll put a scare in the Brooklyn Nets if they match up with them. I don't know. I think Joel Embiid has just taken his game to a little bit of a better level. Maybe it's the fact that the fans aren't there. Maybe I don't know what it's been, but something in him has clicked. He legit just feels like one of the best players this season all around. And I love LeBron. I think he's good, but you see sometimes he takes nights off. I don't really see Joel Embiid taking nights off. And I think that's the case of with LeBron. He knows the most important thing right now for him is a championship. So unless he really puts his mind to it, if LeBron really wanted to be MVP, he'd be MVP. But he doesn't really want it.
Well, I mean, he's got 4 already. It's not like he's never won one.
I would want him to get 5. I think if he gets 5, that'd be something. With 3 different franchises, think about that. Has that ever been done?
I don't think so.
Not
to my knowledge.
No.
I would agree that the front runner should be Joel Embiid. I will say I'm not going to discount James Harden, even though y'all might, only because, right? And this has always been my gripe with the MVP award, is because it's a regular season award. Like it doesn't count anything that happens in the postseason, and we all know that in the regular season, James Harden can do little to no wrong, but in the postseason, it's like a vanishing act. So I'll give him an outside chance to come and scoop that up at the end of the day. Also, there's LeBron out there, but I would definitely agree that in terms of the favorite to win it, it's probably still going to be Embiid. If he comes back and looks every bit the way he's been looking the first couple of weeks, then we should definitely see that happen. I mean, after those playoff exits and a lot of questions about his game, I think something just hit.
Well,
and it's about time that it did.
I'm gonna go ahead and put just pour cold water on your James Harden take, because he went to a team that was already good, that had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
They were already good. They were already expected to be good. Yeah, he came in, he's helping. Yeah, is he meshing? Yeah. Is he fitting perfectly with his team? Is he helping them win games? Yes. Is he the most valuable player on that team? No, that's Kevin Durant.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. That's not even a question.
Exactly. That's like you trying to make a case for Dwayne Wade joining a LeBron James team. And he's the MVP. He's not. It's LeBron James. No, again, I like James Harden. I don't dislike him like most. But I can't just ignore what he didn't do in Houston. He was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. He was a terrible teammate. At least with Kyrie. And here's one thing, people were giving Kyrie shit that he didn't want to play ball because they saw him in parties. People forget that these players, they're human beings too, and their mental health is just as important as what they do on the court. Their personal health is more important. He needed to just take himself out of that situation and just get himself back to where he needed to be. If that means partying and that means just chilling at home playing 2K, whatever that may be, that man got himself healthy. And that's what I just didn't like about the Kyrie slander compared to the James Harden slander. He just didn't want to show up to play because he just said, I can't do shit with this team, because he couldn't carry that team anywhere. So he had to go join KD and Kyrie. How is that an MVP?
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that point. We obviously know that KD is the guy in Brooklyn. So when he comes back healthy, I think that's going to change things around a little bit. But I mean, but we know what James Harden was doing in Houston. He was on the buffet lines and the strip clubs. And, it was just one after the other because he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But anywho, this has been the Havoc Hour. If you listen this far, we appreciate you. Love all the support and people listening. Before we get up out of here, my fellas, I'm going to give y'all this time to y'all plug your socials. Let us know where to find you, what y'all got going on with your shows and stuff like that. So whoever want to go first, y'all go ahead.
Young Kings Wrestling Podcast. Hit us up at ykwrestling.com. We are pretty much everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Radio Republic, Stitcher, yada, yada, yada. We got merch too.
Yeah, great merch. I've been a great supporter of that merch. I love it. Got 2 t-shirts, a hoodie. If you guys ever get like a Wolfpack version of it, I'm definitely copying that as well. As for me, you can find me on all social medias at SCS Vince. Yes, if they don't like to refer me that on the Smack and Raw podcast, but SCS Vince is still how you find me. Go ahead. I have a link tree to find all my socials. Follow me on the Smack and Raw podcast. You can find the audio version using our link tree /Smack and Raw. And then you can find the video version of the content using linktree /Creation World. Follow the Instagram page, Smack and Raw Pod. And as always, we are the #1 wrestling podcast back on Pornhub. So go ahead and check that out after, a quick fap session. And then just go ahead and watch us talk some wrestling.
Or you can watch some wrestling and, edge along for, 2 hours or so. And then go ahead and, find, what you need to find to finish. But
I mean, if we are
whatever works for you,
if we are what does it for you, by all means, I'm glad I could help the process. Trust the process, everybody. Trust the process.
Oh man! And of course, you can find the show on all platforms that stream podcasts right now: Anchor, Spotify, YouTube. If you want to watch the video right here, you see all of us on screen. I want to
see me with this. Hey, big shout out to my guys, First Black Champ podcast. You want to hear some more black people talk wrestling, and it's not me, Reek and Malik. Go check my guys out. FBC Pod, #FBC Pod on the Barber's Chair Network. So find all that you need to find here. Shout out to those guys.
No doubt. Absolutely.
I don't do plugs like that often. So
hey man, listen, I'm all for it. But let's thank my homies, Vince, TC, for jumping on with me tonight. Trying to get a little more consistent with getting the content out because it's been a little while. But hey, listen, I know.
Bro, we can't talk about stuff that happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I know that. That's cool.
So I'm gonna say something. Let's talk about something that happened today, real quick, before we get out of here.
What's up?
Drew Brees retired today.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm just saying that he retired today, and that's all I'm gonna say.
And he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot.
He is.
Okay. Just want to know what level of disrespect we was going with.
What are you talking about? Disrespect? I wasn't going to do it. It's because we're at the end of the episode, and I don't really feel like getting into that right now.
Okay, all right, fair.
But any Drew Brees disrespect, you'll see it periodically on Twitter whenever I happen to come across it and have the opportunity.
Oh man, yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm not.
Oh, I couldn't help myself. Drew Brees let Tom Brady come to his hood, win a championship his first year, and then run him off.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
That is a factual statement.
Oh man.
He got ran out the hood like the Fresh Prince.
That's terrible.
Oh man.
Listen. Tampa just had everything that they needed to have at the end of the day. Drew is not who he was 10 years ago. So I don't put this all on him.
I was gonna say something else. I stopped myself. You can go ahead and end the episode before I get started.
Oh, good Lord. Anywho, yeah. Thanks to my guys, to you two for coming on. Appreciate y'all. And if you're listening this far, thanks for listening. Go check the page out. Go check the show out. For myself, Wreak Havoc with the Havoc Hour. To my guy, CC Vince. This has been the Havoc Hour. Thanks for listening, and we out.
Later, y'all. Go.